The vision of the vine and the tree, set deep in the southern Earthkeeper groves, generations after Tomarin Aiyana was born to the river winds and raised by the songs of the forest. Her grandmother had been midwife to the trees, and her mother a listener of roots. From a young age, Aiyana walked barefoot through the undergrowth, fingers always stained with pulp, bark, or blossom. She was a dreamer, drawn not to crowds, but to still water and night birds. And she was more than a listener. She was a healer in her own right. By the time she was 13, she could name and prepare over 100 herbs. She knew what root to chew for fever, which vine to boil for sleep, how to speak with the leaves before harvesting. Elders sought her for remedies. The forest had marked her early, but something was changing. The sacrament mushroom, the sacred fruit of the mycelium, gifted to those who sought vision, had begun to disappear. Seasons passed with no bloom beneath the ceibo trees. Rain came and went, and still no flush. In the old days, the mushrooms arrived in cycles, tied to moon and mist. But now the forest gave no sign. Elders whispered of silence in the web. Ceremonies grew quiet. Some began to fear the mycelium had retreated, and so Aiyana fasted. For 3 days she drank only spring water and chewed bitter bark. On the 4th morning she found a single sacrament mushroom, growing alone at the edge of the grove beneath fallen leaves. She took it as a sign, wrapped it in prayer, and made her way to the river, where the water flowed wide and dark beneath the shadow of the ceibo trees. She sat on the soft bank, the mist curling around her legs, and ate the mushroom in silence. For a time, there was only breath and river. Then, the surface of the water broke. Pink dolphins began to rise and dip through the current, 3 of them, moving without sound, their bodies catching the light like spirits. Aiyana watched, awed and trembling. One dolphin turned its head toward her. Its eyes were too deep, too knowing. And then it changed. The dolphin's body shimmered and unfolded into a form cloaked in shadow and fire, neither man nor beast, but presence. He stood upon the water as if it were stone. Thal'Zir. He stepped from the river, clothed in lightless flame, eyes like pools of still midnight. "You seek to mend what was never broken," he said, "but there is something hidden, not above, not below, between." He led her to a clearing where 2 spirits danced, one a coiling vine that pulsed like a heartbeat, the other a glossy leaf shimmering with blue fire. She recognized them. She had seen these plants before growing wild and separate in different corners of the forest. She had touched their leaves, smelled their bark. But she had never thought to bring them together. They were made to be alone, Thal'Zir said, but to remember they must be made one. In the vision, Aiyana reached toward them. The vine was heavy and bitter. The leaf was light and distant. But when she brought them together, a song began to rise, a low hum not heard with the ears, but in the bones. The vine seeks the tree offers the sky. Together they weave the vision. "This is not a potion," said Thal'Zir. "It is a doorway. One opens, one guides. Together they reveal." When the vision released her, Aiyana found herself beneath the ceibo tree, her face damp with tears she hadn't known she wept, her clothes soaked with river water from a current she never entered. She spent the next weeks walking the sacred paths, listening to the forest. And the forest responded. The copy vine revealed itself first, tangled low beneath the canopy. The chacuna leaves shimmered with morning dew, not far from the spring. She harvested neither in haste. With each cut, she offered breath and prayer. On the night of the full moon, she built a fire ringed in river stones and placed the vine and leaf in the old clay pot, once used by her grandmother. She brewed in silence, stirring with a carved bamboo spoon, whispering the song given in her vision. Root below, leaf above, web of love. In the dark, the light is sown. What was lost is now our own. When the brew thickened and the moon reached its peak, Aiyana drank. She did not rise in ecstasy. She was taken. The forest fell away. Time shattered. Light screamed across her vision as she was thrust through space, through root and branch, star and soil, face after face, memory after memory. She flew beyond the clouds of Earth, through spiraling galaxies, into the pulsing heart of the great consciousness. It was not a place, but a presence. Not a vision, but a remembering. Aiyana dissolved, and in dissolving she became everything. And in that silence after awe, she heard the web humming. She did not claim the brew. She did not name it. She knelt before it and offered herself as guardian. And as she pressed her hand to the earth, a quiet knowing rose within her. The mushroom had not vanished. It had made way. The sacrament had not been taken. It had stepped aside. Not to punish, but to prepare. The web had not gone silent, only opened another door. What once whispered in shadow now sang through the vine and the leaf. The path would not always come in the same shape, but it would always come to those who walked in love, not fear. Vision would never vanish. It would only evolve. In time, the elders gathered to hear Aiyana's account. Beneath the great canopy, she poured the brew once more, not to consume, but to speak of it. They listened not only with ears, but with memory. And they knew the web had spoken anew. From that day, the brew was named among the sacred, not as replacement, but as revelation. It was given a place beside the sacrament mushroom, and used in ceremony with prayer and great care. In the south, a new rite was born, and the vine and leaf were honored, not as secrets, but as songs, sung only when the forest called them forth.